Hello, my name is Peyton, and I'm going to discuss Beyond Discipline, the Classroom Management Philosophy by Alfie Kohn. By the end of this presentation, I hope to have discussed the key concepts of this philosophy, the positive aspects that come with it, some limitations, as well as some typical classroom management issues. Some of the key concepts in this classroom management philosophy are to provide an engaging curriculum. So this is super important because to do this, teachers need to know their students' interests and their learning strategies, how the students learn the best, and then be flexible and adaptive to each classroom setting and adjust. If this is done, then students should want to learn on their own. They should be intrinsically motivated to learn and challenge themselves. He also believed that teachers should avoid punishments and rewards because this stifles student decision making and it creates a sense of doubt in the student towards authority figures. Kohn also believed the teacher should develop a caring community first and foremost. Teacher-student relationships, student-student relationships. Students want to learn from people that they like. And that was a quote from the TED Talk we saw earlier by Rita Pearson. And it goes for within the classroom too. Students need to learn to accept and respect each other, their backgrounds, in order to learn the most efficiently. Teachers must also provide students with opportunities to make decisions. Kohn was a huge, he proposed classroom meetings. Alfie Kohn proposed classroom meetings. Classroom meetings are used to share, discuss, plan, and reflect upon what is going on in the classroom. And that can be what the students are learning, maybe some issues, behavioral issues, what students want to learn, how students want to be treated, so on and so forth. This is a chance for students to, and it goes for within the classroom too. Students need to learn to accept and respect each other, their backgrounds, in order to learn the most efficiently. Teachers must also provide students with opportunities to make decisions. Alfie Kohn proposed classroom meetings. Classroom meetings are used to share, discuss, plan, and reflect upon what is going on in the classroom. And that can be what the students are learning, maybe some issues, behavioral issues, what students want to learn, how students want to be treated, so on and so forth. This is a chance for students to talk to the teacher and for teachers to listen, vice versa, and amongst the students themselves. The degree of teacher control. This is a low degree of teacher control and a high degree of student responsibility and autonomy. Children are expected to develop from inner forces, meaning natural consequences and not implemented consequences. Decision-making promotes personal growth, and students decide their own destiny. Main processes and approaches: develop a caring community, help students see the problem and guide them in the correct direction, active listening all around, teachers to students, student to teachers, student to student, allow students to express themselves, and intrinsic motivation is key. So let's take a quick moment and watch this video that I found from the University of Rochester about how important it is for students to make their own decisions.
Knows that young children, particularly toddlers, 2 to 4-year-olds, are subject to impulsivity. And it has been thought that that is a characteristic that children are born with.
Do you know what? It is snack time now.
And so what we wanted to know is whether or not some of these differences between children can be influenced by their own rational thought processes.
We wanted to manipulate children's beliefs about how reliable the environment that they were in was we assigned kids to one of two conditions, either the reliable condition or the unreliable condition.
So for the art supplies that you get to use, you actually have a choice. You can either use these crayons right now, or if you can wait for me to go get some from the other room, you can use our big set of art supplies instead.
The kids in the reliable condition, when the experimenter came back into the room, had the better thing. And for the kids in the unreliable condition, the experimenter apologized and said she'd made a mistake. We didn't have that available and then helped them use the first option.
Listen, I'm so sorry, but I actually don't have that big set of art supplies I told you about. Sorry about that. But you can still use these ones to make your project.
The classic example of a task in which children show impulsivity is what's called the marshmallow task.
For your snack, you have a choice. Look what I've got.
Marshmallow.
Yeah, so wait just a second, let me explain. So you can either eat this one marshmallow right now, or if you can wait for me to go get it from the other room, you can have 2 marshmallows instead.
I want 2 marshmallows.
And what we found, which was an incredibly large effect, the children who were in the unreliable group were more likely to fairly quickly pick up the marshmallow and eat it. So on average, they waited about 3 minutes.
And did you know I'd not eat this marshmallow?
The children who were in the reliable group waited 4 times longer. So they waited about 12 minutes, which is an incredibly long time for young children to wait before they get a reward.
The difference is maybe due to a difference in expectations about what's likely to happen in the world. That's what this experiment was designed to address.
Any 3-year-old, self-control is not necessarily at the top of their skill base, but in general, when she sets her mind that she's going to do something, she's going to do it.
In the marshmallow task, I was like, what you want to do is you want to get the most amount of marshmallow possible, but there may be other considerations. Given that I have this one marshmallow now that's guaranteed, what are the chances that if I wait, there's going to be a second marshmallow later?
If it was a teacher he had all the time, that if they would have that trust bond a little bit longer, that he'd probably wait longer.
One of the lines of work that evolved as a result of the marshmallow task was to look at the outcomes of children's behavior later in life. But something that's been missing from the equation is this rational process by which children are accessing information in their environment and making decisions about whether they should behave in the short term or behave in the long term. So if they're in an environment in which long-term gain is very rare, well, then it makes perfect sense for them to behave impulsively because that's going to maximize their reward.
How's it taste?
Some positive aspects: students feel safe to express their opinions. They are intrinsically motivated to learn and challenge themselves. It promotes cooperative problem solving and learning, fosters intellectual development and motivation to be an effective leader. Students observe natural consequences rather than implemented punishments and rewards, and failure is embraced as a natural process of learning. Some limitations. Kohn believed in refraining from suppressing conflict. He believed that arguments were good for the students, that it was important for students to come to their own resolutions, and it was important that the teacher not stop the conflict, rather guide them to a natural resolution, which can take time from the curriculum that you're supposed to be teaching. Leads me to the next point. Teaching beyond the curriculum means you will have less time for curriculum instruction. Kohn's goal was to create students who wanted to read, who wanted to write, who wanted to do math, who wanted to be good people, who valued kindness and support and acceptance. But to teach those things, you cannot just teach what is going to be on a test. You have to teach character. You have to teach how to be good people. That takes time. Teachers must remain flexible and adaptive to student interests and educational needs. That should be easy if you get to know your students and you take time to know them as people and as learners and be responsive to what you were learning from them. It's a collaborative learning. It's not just you teaching the students are teaching you too. An important quote from Kohn in his book Beyond Curriculum: the more we manage students' behavior and try to make them do what we say, the more difficult it is for them to become morally sophisticated people who think for themselves and care about others. Typical classroom issues: acting out, testing the teacher, trying to see, is this really our classroom or is this the teacher's classroom? Outright resistance, silence. Some students don't want to participate. And when this happens, the teacher needs to find out, why is this student not willing to participate? And what can I do to engage that student more? Students also might parrot or just repeat back what the teacher wants to hear. How to handle this: classroom meetings: share, discuss, plan, and reflect on classroom issues. Get the students involved in figuring out how to confront what's going on in the classroom. Reflect on questions such as, what do they require? They as the students. What do the students require in order to flourish, and how can I provide these things? Then ask the student, what is the teacher's role? What is the student's role? What can we both do better to fulfill these roles? It's a collaborative thing. It's not just the teacher dictates all. The students need to be involved in order for it to be the most efficient. So by the end of this presentation, I hope you have learned a little bit more about who Alfie Kohn is, some key concepts to his beyond discipline, beyond the curriculum, and some positive aspects and limitations that go along with it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.